New Thought Media Network is proud to present Cosmic Prayers, your weekly shift, Mondays at 11 Mountain Time, with your host, Laura Topper. The Cosmic Prayers, live from the UK. And now, here she is, Laura Topper.
Hi, and welcome to the Cosmic Prayer. It's so great to be here again. Another Monday, the week flying by, and what a great experience it is right now to be here. I'm just so pleased because of the guests that we have coming on. I'm really excited. Can't get the words out properly. So I was just looking at the advert actually before and realizing what the amazing things that are happening here on New Thought Media Network. So I feel really blessed and honored to be here right now with the Cosmic Prayer. And the guest that we have coming on, he is so incredibly gifted. He has performed over 700 weddings. Wow. That's the piece for me. I just think what a beautiful thing to have done, to be that person that experiences that and gives that to so many people. And as a spiritual counselor as well for people that are preparing to get married, that's another honor there and another great thing to be doing in this life. Apart from being a spiritual practitioner and a pastor, he was ordained by Bishop Carlton Pearson in 2013. Oh my gosh, the list just goes on and on here. And as I said, a licensed spiritual practitioner, and he was also a part of Spiritual Center in Ohio, Summit Spiritual Center, for many, many years. And he's also a presenter here on New Thought Media Network. He has his own show. It is called Friday's Fireside Chat. And I am excited to bring on Michael Mangus to the Cosmic Prayer. Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Michael.
You know what? Yeah, I had to work on myself a little bit because you've had some real A-listers from Science of Mind here. You had Dr. Viljoen, and you've had Tony LaMotta, who, again, wonderful people.
Isn't she wonderful?
And then
and now
and then you have me. How wonderful. Thank you so very much.
And that is the thing where everybody, I feel that we, because you're doing the same thing here, you're bringing people onto your broadcast and allowing people to really share and shine out their message. And so as far as I'm concerned, we're all bringing on amazing people. Everyone's an A-lister, just for showing up and doing this on whatever level, whatever capacity. So
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I want to ask you, you've married 700. Start from that place, because I think that's an empowering thing to be doing in this life, let alone everything else that you're doing. That is beautiful. What's your calling for that?
I think that really it comes from love. I think that that's one of the things that that I was taught early, as far as with I pastored Summit Spiritual Center in Akron for many, many years, and this is one of the things I had to overcome. Was one of my fears was that if I got my marrying license in Ohio, that I would kick off some of the other CSL ministers. So for a couple of years, I had the paperwork on my desk. And then finally, someone from our group asked me, Mike, could you do my ceremony? It was Jill Stampill, who was one of my board president. So I went ahead and I registered. Now, it was interesting because I got the paperwork back from the state of Ohio to perform weddings. I got it back. It wasn't even warm out of the envelope, in which I got a call from our independent New Thought minister who's affiliated with our community, John Miller, who went ahead and said, guess what? Yeah, we froze up there just for a second.
Did we? Okay. Yeah, I was waiting for the drum roll.
Yeah, but John, see, the one nice thing was that John went ahead and he spent a year with me, mentoring me on how to do weddings. And one of the things that he really said was, Mike, in our tradition of New Thought, he said that we just marry them, we don't hassle them. And so that's one of the things that I've done. It really is a joy to be able to unite a couple that's already been united in their own heart. So all we're doing is we're making public what they've already done. So talking about my use with prayer, as far as where that goes, I think that again, praying that I have again that kind of servant's heart, but also that things go well during the ceremony. And again, even if they don't, it's perfect. So, even though I may think it's not perfect, like, for example, like when I watch my show from Friday night, okay, like during the show, my mind's going, oh man, you know what? I messed up and everything. But then when I'm done and I go ahead and I see what happened, it really is, sometimes it even amazes me. So as long as I'm there as a conduit, as long as I'm there and willing, I think that that's something that, that Spirit uses us to be able to do. So getting back to the weddings, one of the nice things about weddings in this area, again, being involved in active ministry, it's probably one of the more wonderful things that you do. I think that the tendency, again, I've been in ministry a long time. One of the tendencies in ministry, I think, is to kind of lose perspective if you're dealing with the board, if you're dealing with members, if you're dealing with everything else. What weddings do for me is really very much of a stress reliever, because it really reminds me of just being willing to go ahead and I marry some of the people in our area that some of the pastors wouldn't even touch. And again, I'm not sure how it is over in United Kingdom. I know here that we have, usually the pastors of regular denominations will not marry you if you've been married before, second or third marriage, if you're living together, which most of my couples do, okay, and also have a child out of wedlock. See, I don't do any of that. So I don't have any of that judgment, because again, our teaching says, again, to love. That's what Jesus said. So that's what I do. And that's what I bring to the table as far as with the weddings.
Yeah. And being, looking at our society and how we are living here as society, and humanity, most people are, if we're involved in a relationship, most people are doing one of those three things. People break up, people have children, the family structure looks very different now to how it did even 10 years ago or 5 years ago, with inclusivity and diversity and the way that our children are growing up and expressing themselves with their sexuality as well, So we need our teaching, don't we? And we need ministers like you to say, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to bring people together through love, and that's it.
Yeah. So I'm about to do a very controversial thing. I'm going to hold up the Bible. Okay. I'll hold up my Bible. Now, again, a lot of my regular clergy, you have the sign. I also have that. The reason I hold up the Bible is because, again, the interpretation of the Bible, the reason that the ministers in our area will not do a lot of the weddings is because that, again, their very narrow interpretation of the Bible. Whereas, again, in Science of Mind, Religious Science, New Thought, again, that we take the Bible seriously, but we don't take it literally. That's now, again, right. So let's talk about, they say, well, a man shall be joined to his wife, and, that's in Mark, and the two shall become one. You have to understand, again, if you take that scripture in context, that what Jesus was talking about was that at that time, it was extremely easy for a man just to go ahead and say, well, I don't want to be married to you anymore, and then leave his wife and children destitute. So what Jesus was talking about, especially with the Pharisees, was, again, taking this seriously. And so I think that and the other thing too is the same-sex marriages. Again, I'm one of the only regular pastors in this area that does same-sex weddings. who, again, it's all based upon, again, an interpretation of the Bible that is not consistent with love. When we get back to what makes it all happen, again, God is love, and yes, God is law, but God is love. So if we come from that place, when we take a look at Scripture and we go ahead and, I believe, again, it is inspired, but it's not, this whole idea of it's not fallible. It is fallible. So especially in the interpretation of it. So
yeah, and there are many that won't reach for the Bible also, that's not the book of their choice, and would rather observe love for what it is. And there you are. Oh, I like that. That's a.
I'm holding up my
posh version. Look at mine. It's falling apart.
Oh no. I like yours better, because
really?
I think for me, it's the show is called Cosmic Prayer. I think for me, prayer is one of the things that really got me into the science of mind. Has been the whole idea of that there are methods and ways that make prayer more consistent. And so I've made a study over the years I've done with my bachelor's degree before I went into Holmes Institute, that one of the things I did for my prayer project, for a senior project, was prayer. What I went ahead and I did what's called a prayer study, working with addicted people. So again, the one thing I think that
what did you do with that? What did you do with that?
Yeah, so I had to come up with a project that had to be approved by my advisors at Burlington College in Vermont, which unfortunately the program's no more. But what I did was I took a group of people who were food addicted, and I went ahead and I split them up into two. The only thing that on the paper that they signed was it said, you are participating in a study of prayer and healing. Okay. That's the only thing I could tell them as far as with that goes.
That's quite a lot to say though, isn't it? Because even saying that that plants a seed that this is a very powerful project.
Yeah. So what happened was I went and I had help from religious science practitioners and a friend of mine, Reverend Marie. What we did was this. We went ahead and I gave her all the names, and I said, put them all in a hat and pull out half of them to be prayed for.
Yeah.
And so what happened was that Marie, I had nothing to do with the actual prayer. I had nothing to do at all, because again, the whole idea of interpretation.
It was a blind trial. It was a blind.
Yes, I really tried with this prayer study. I really tried to get myself out of, as the investigator, I tried to get myself out as much as possible. So what I did was I went ahead and I did the class. So we had, at the end, we had 8 people left out of 16. All right. So about 50% dropout, which is pretty typical in any type of addiction program. All right. So I went ahead and I got the results all together, and I found out who was prayed for and who was not. And I was a little disappointed about the results, but I went ahead and I gave them to my professor, who went ahead and he said, now hold it, Mike. He says, you really need to take a look at this closer. He said, the people who went ahead and who were prayed for lost more weight. They were more motivated to do the work. And also that they seem to have done better psychologically throughout the term. See, that's how powerful prayer is. And so I did some recently in Holmes Institute during one of the classes, I did a follow-up. There's been a lot of controversy as far as with studying prayer. I guess that the last major study was back in like 2006, 2007, where the guy who did the Dr. Herbert Benson got a whole bunch of money from from the Templeton Foundation, $2.3 million. What happened is that it really did not show congruently that prayer worked. Okay. So the media went ahead and went crazy over this. So, oh, prayer doesn't work, spending all that money. But see, what I did in my study with Holmes Institute, I went ahead and I took a look at someone did a meta-analysis the year after. So what this researcher did was he took all the prayer studies, and what he found out was that prayer does make things better. It changes things. Now, one of the things, and again, I'll let you, I know I tend to ramble on.
No, it's fine, because I just wanted to ask you something about that, but you carry on.
Okay, So what, the one thing I think that there was a problem in the actual prayer study was that the prayers, they were given an actual intention to pray for. Okay. Some of the people felt and again, they had Protestants, Catholics, Buddhists. Some of the people felt that they were telling God what to do by setting the intention. The intention was for the person to heal quicker and also to be restored to health. Okay, so that was the intention. Some of the people did not like that because they felt that they were telling God what to do. However, what I have found is that prayer, using it in an intention form, what that does is, again, that, we study about God being love and God being law, that what happens is that increases the efficiency and the effectiveness of prayer. And that's not just through the prayer studies. That's through all the stuff that they're doing in parapsychology and other stuff. So there's proof out there. There's scientific proof out there that prayer works. But I think the whole idea of teaching people how to pray aright, I think that's something that we do in our centers and that we do through our many teachings. We also do through this network too. So.
Yeah, and I think that we're at a time now where people's hearts and minds are opening up to wanting to learn these tools and techniques that are wisdom tools, really, aren't they? They've already been proven, as far as I'm concerned, metaphysically and spiritually. I know that science is reproving now, so that humanity, so it can reach people in a way where people can hear it and understand it, because people like to have proof. People like to have a scientific foundation and say, oh yes, that trial worked, that trial didn't. People like that. But we know this has worked, and we know that there are many greats that have gone before that have shown this, that have done the healing, that have healed many, many people and themselves with the power of intention and the power of knowing that God is within, and that we can use the law and we can use the love. And I just wanted to ask you about that trial. Did those people know that they were going to be prayed for? The second one, the meta-analysis.
Okay, not the meta-analysis, but the one with Dr. Benson. Yes, they did. And I think what happened was that, again, from the research, was that that put pressure on them. That put pressure on people. Oh, they're praying for me, And I think, again, it really skewed the results.
I agree. That would have done.
By telling them. The other thing, again, I think that I noticed that probably a lot of the other researchers did not, was that, again, with the prayers, not wanting to do that intention, that also skewed the results of that. So one of the things that I, for my parapsychology class at Holmes Institute, is that the one thing that I saw was that there's been plenty of work in the field of parapsychology on the whole idea of intention, that they found that, again, when somebody is doing like a physical act and there's somebody in another room that's intending for them to do well or to relax during it, that what happens is it happens. So again, I think that there's a lot of things that are, especially with the the research that they've done with prayer, I think that now what has happened, because they spent all that money on the project from Templeton Foundation, is that, again, for the past few years, the money has not been readily available to go ahead and to do that kind of research again. But I think that, again, that it really shows that, and you know, I have friends of mine who are Christian Science, love them to death, but they will not pray for me. They will not do their form of treatment for me if I'm going to see a doctor. Now, we know, again, from the prayer studies that prayer and medicine, or prayer alone, works. We know that already. And see, and Holmes wanted us to, again, to always respect the science. He always wanted us to, to be people who are colleagues of the medical profession, and not separate. So I think that's, the whole idea of people, again, they do their work in the physical, but we can also do our work. Again, if we're holistic beings, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, if we're those kind of beings, then again, if it's just on the physical, it may come back again, because there's more than likely some emotional stuff that's come up from the past. There's more than likely, again, when I work with cancer patients, that I tell them, I say, you know what, again, you have something that's eating away at you. I said, forgive everybody. Forgive. If you have a list of people, and again, if any one of you have a list of people on a list that says, these people owe me that, I really support you in getting some help to forgive them. Let them go. They were an important part of your life. They went ahead and in some form, you may not have liked it, but in some form or another, they grew you. Okay. So that's one of the, so again, there's all kinds of things, I think, in the medical profession. I think that, again, people are coming to a point where they're saying, well, this is not just physical. There's a lot of other things that are going on. So.
Yeah. And I think we're getting to that point where also the medical profession are opening up to realizing the wisdom of the ancients. And, I was really surprised in my studies to discover that in medical schools now in the States, there are spirituality courses. In the universities in the States, there are spirituality courses. And this is perfect. And this is why Holmes we can't separate, because there is no separation. Everything is God expressing. And everything is expressing as God. So how can we separate the physical from the spiritual? It's one.
And I think that what they're also being taught in the medical schools, and again, if we have any medical students, but from what I understand, is that how you approach things really makes a huge difference. If you come in and you just lay out the facts and say, well, I think you have 4 to 6 weeks to live. Well, again, that the person has, again, there's certain ways of being able to do that support the patient rather than going ahead and discouraging them.
And so setting that intention.
Yeah. So I think that there's reasons why that medical students are learning a little bit more about spirituality, is because, again, that a lot of their patients are demanding that.
Yeah.
So, and I just had a friend of mine who went through 2 years of chaplaincy program. And again, it just amazes me how, again, the right person saying the right words at the right moment and being willing just to be there with the patient or whoever's there, that in and of itself is healing. I remember the story of a minister. Her name will come to me hopefully in a moment, but she was working as a chaplain in a hospital, okay, as a part of a practicum for her degree and for her ordination. So she goes in she's all gowned up and everything, and she goes to a nurse and she said, what am I supposed to do? And the nurse said this. She said, you are to know the presence of God in the situation.
Wow. The nurse said that.
The nurse said that. So I think that that's something that we can always know the presence of God in any situation.
And why would we be surprised that the nurse said that? You know what I mean? Because they are divine messengers of God doing God's work here. Why would I be surprised that the nurse said that? Because nurses are angels, aren't they? And they know why they're here. They know why they're here.
Yeah, my mother, who just unfortunately passed away from COVID at the end of the year, and my sister are also wonderful nurses.
Your mother transitioned.
Yeah, my mom transitioned at the end of the year. It just, the reason I mention that is, and I mention that on my show weekly, is as a remembrance for my mom, who I miss really. I miss mom dearly. And the reason I mention it is because, again, not to give power to COVID-19 or what we're going through, but to say, you know what, this is personal, and that we're all going to get through this. I think sometimes on my program, people get hung up on, because I do mention about things like COVID-19, and I mention the numbers, and but the numbers, I mention them so that we can learn just to take them as information and not be afraid. Yeah. That there are ways that we can get through this whole idea, this whole idea of COVID-19. We can get through this and thrive through this. The shift has hit the fan. Okay. I mean,
I love that.
Yeah, the shift has hit the fan. Now, Diego knows I don't like saying the other word, but
could you please put that on, Diego?
It really, yeah, Diego didn't have to bleep me. The shift has hit the fan here. And the thing is that it really has taken everybody out of their comfort zone. I talk to other ministers and I say, what do we do next? And he says, they tell me back, we're learning this as much as you are. So I think that the nice thing about what you and I and other people are doing on this network is we are being a part of that cutting edge to really to take spiritual teaching to the masses through this. I really believe that New Thought has answers to people who say that they're spiritual, not religious. That we have that whole idea of not only being able to pray to God, but that whole idea of, I just call that mind science. We have that, the wonderful thing of mind science, but the one thing that, again, and I've gotten this through the classes at Holmes, is the whole idea of mysticism, that personal relationship with the all that is. And
the
to be able to do
that I'm sorry, that was the lag there. And to be able to do that, to be able to have the experience with that, the direct experience through prayer, through conscious prayer.
Yeah, the first two steps of again, if any of you are religious science students, recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release. So those are the 5 steps that we teach our practitioners to pray. Now, the first 2 steps, the recognition step and the unification steps, those are one of my teachers of the Science Mind, Dr. Tom Senard, says those are the communion steps. That what we do is, again, not just as we say the words, but we commune with that one life, that one activity. We feel its presence. We feel the 7 aspects of God as taught by Judge Thomas Troward, love, life, light, peace, power, beauty, and joy. So we experience that. So that's the communion. The command is when that we, from that consciousness of God, that consciousness of one, that we then command, we then pray aright, as the scriptures say. We then know what words to say. We are guided and directed in the prayer. Sometimes I've had I don't have that all the time, but I've had mystical experiences where it doesn't seem like it's me praying.
Yeah.
It's the whole universe praying in and through me. So I think those are the things that really make prayer effective, is again, as we spend some time in communion, we take some time and spend some time in meditation. And then we then are, again, not of our own power. Holmes said that there's a power that's greater than us that we can use. So we go ahead and we then use that power, then speaking our word with confidence that's already done. That's already done. So I see those are the things I think that make prayer effective, and that it does, again, take encouragement from other people. And also it does take a little bit of time. Again, that's what this, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? You practice. And the same thing with spiritual mind treatment is that, again, I'm still learning. I've learned it over 30 years ago, and I'm still learning stuff about spiritual mind treatment. So it's really, and especially about how to pray for other people. And again, you don't pray to heal the physical body. Okay. What you're doing is you're seeing the truth about the individual. You are convincing yourself, not them, but you're convincing yourself of their wholeness, their completeness, their life, the life of God in and through them. So that is what you are doing in an effective prayer treatment, is you are convincing yourself of the truth for your client. And then again, with working with other people and also myself, again, the whole idea of the steps of giving great thanks that it's already done, because it's already, the work is already done. And then to release that word, to really just to let it go, to just say, okay, I trust now that this law is doing exactly so I don't have to, I can let go. I can go ahead and go on with my day. And that I know that the work's already being done. One of my favorite authors is Dr. Joseph Murphy. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. That was his great selling book. Dr. Murphy was not only a religious science minister, but he was also a divine science minister. So Joseph Murphy, what he would do for people who really did not know a whole lot about New Thought, what he would do is he would go ahead and he would write out an affirmative prayer, and he would give this to them. And he'd say, okay, what I want you to do is this: 2 or 3 times a day, especially in the morning and in the evening, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to either say this out loud or say this to yourself with lots of feeling. Joseph Murphy had hundreds, even into the thousands of demonstrations that he had on file for that. Yes, Diego says it's our consciousness.
It's all in our consciousness. Yeah.
It's all in our consciousness. So I think that was the magic, if you want to call it the magic, but that was the brilliance of Joseph Murphy taking our wonderful teaching and then just condensing it to a few sentences that he would give to these people. Now, why the morning and evening? Why are those so important? Well, again, through the science, we know that as we are waking up in the morning and as we are going to sleep at night, that what happens is we enter into a natural alpha state. Okay. So as we are going to sleep at night, see, that's why you don't watch the news before you go to sleep. Right. It's because you don't want to put that stuff in your head before you go to sleep. So that's why watch the news another time. I'm not saying don't watch news, but I'm saying that before you go to sleep at night, again, that's a time that Dr. Murphy said, you want to implant those good thoughts in you. And then when you wake up in the morning, is as you are waking up, you are in a natural alpha state. So that's one of the reasons why it's really good in the morning to do prayer work. And people say, well, I'm still waking up. Okay, so do this.
That's the time to do it.
That's the time to do it. But if there are some people that say, well, right now I'm not willing to do that. Good. So get the Science of Mind textbook. Fill your mind with some good stuff the first thing in the morning. I think that's, I was reading about one self-improvement author. So his morning routine is he gets up in the morning, he writes down a gratitude list of at least 3 things. And again, Gratitude has been studied again. There's been, tens of almost 100 studies done of gratitude, how just being grateful really shifts your consciousness and really helps you in your daily life. So he writes down 3 things in a gratitude list, and then he goes ahead and he feeds his mind. So what I do, one of the things that I do is I have books that I read in like daily devotions in the morning, including Around the Year with Emmett Fox, wonderful man originally from England, who was the minister of one of the largest churches they ever had in New Thought in New York City. But, to start feeding your mind with some good stuff, I also have some books by Ernest Holmes that I read just to get me again into that mind of prayer, of really just trying to, again, guiding my thinking on the path of spirit. So that's for me, again, so I have about 2 or 3 of these. So.
Wow. I love everything that you're saying here. It's just so many kind of pieces of information here for people to access. And how can we make this simple, for the listener? And, for me personally, I want to see prayer as being like this really usable tool people just turn to because, let's come away from the word prayer, which maybe has its connotations, or people think of prayer in a certain religious context. And, if there were another word for prayer that meant the same, but wasn't prayer, that would be really cool. And to get people inspired to really using this for their lives. I mean, not that I want to try and change anybody. And yet I do know that right now, with what we're all experiencing, here is this incredible power tool that we can use to shift the way that we are thinking and feeling, to lift our consciousness right there in the moment. It's like we don't need to wait till tomorrow or next week. It could be right now. How can we make prayer sexy?
How can we make prayer sexy? Okay.
Yeah. Come on, Michael.
So I really, again, that's the reason I mentioned, I know that it seems like, I've kind of gone on all over the place, but I think to make it really simple, that to do like what I just said with Joseph Murphy, is to go ahead. One thing that I teach people who are just getting into this, it's called 3-column prayer. I don't know if you were ever taught this, Laura, but
no.
So 3-column prayer was something that was taught by Eric Butterworth, a Unity minister here. So what you do is this: you divide up a piece of paper into 3. On the far left hand, and when you make your list, you go down. Okay, so make a list with 1 sentence or less of the things that in your life that are either bothering you or that are affecting you. Okay, so I'm afraid. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm afraid of COVID-19. Okay, so we're going to use that as our example. Okay, so you go down the list like that, and again, you really make it extremely brief. The second column, the middle column, is the column of what is the spiritual truth about this. And again, as pointed out on my show last week by Dr. Tim Stewart, who is the president of the International New Thought Alliance, he said that Holmes taught us that, again, that even in a situation like we're in, that one of the things that we can always call on is that peace that passes all understanding. So you would list down in that middle column the spiritual truth about the situation. And if you have trouble with that, that's the good point to go get a spiritual practitioner or a minister to help you with that. Because sometimes, especially beginners, we don't know what the opposite is. So then the third column is an affirmative thought about is taking the situation and turning it into a thought of God. Again, one of the challenges with affirmations is people think, well, we're trying to make something happen. Affirmations, the true sense of affirmations, especially the I am affirmation, it's to allow. We are allowing this presence and power to come forth. We are allowing. So let's say, for example, that you're upset or whatever about COVID-19 is, again, you can quote the scriptures. I was brought up in a Judeo-Christian home. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Who should I fear? The Lord is my life refuge. Who shall I be afraid? Something, or the life of spirit in me guides and directs me into all peace, and I am safe. Something like that. Something that expresses the spiritual truth in a certain form. If you do that, if you really, and again, what after that one time, you go ahead and you take out the third portion. You go ahead and you throw away the other portion. You let it go.
Yeah.
And now start focusing on what you want instead. That, I think that's the simplest form of prayer, to get people to start focusing on the good things in their lives. Start getting them focusing on the good things even involved, even in what we're going on with the COVID-19. It's not denying that it's not there. It's still there. But the whole idea is that there's a lot of good things that are happening in people's consciousness, in people's lives. I've heard of people, again, losing jobs. Well, okay. But see, that's getting you ready for the next adventure here. So if you use that 3-column prayer, if you have any questions about anything that I've said today, Pastor Michael Mangus at gmail.com. And I will go ahead.
Let's get your info up here. Pastor Michael Mangus at Gmail. There we go, at gmail.com. For anyone that's listening here, you're on New Thought Media Network, having such an incredible conversation with Michael about prayer. There's so many things that you've said, and I want to go deeper into this and deeper into that. And it's just incredible that you are guiding people. For anybody, if you've just joined us now, go back and listen, because there are amazing insights here that you are talking about, and it's piecing together and into a beautiful picture that you are painting here on prayer and how we can use prayer and different aspects of spiritual wisdom. Because it doesn't really, also for me, it feels like prayer isn't just always about sitting down and formally doing a spiritual mind treatment. It comes back to that thing that you were talking about, intention. And affirmations also, I mean, I call them super affirmations. They're cosmic affirmations, because we're not asking in an affirmation either. It's not, I am healthy, I am healthy, I am healthy. Oh my God, I'm not healthy. What am I going to do? It's, I am healthy. I know I am the essence and the consciousness and the energy and the vibration of health, because that is who I am in spirit. Yeah, and that's what we're claiming. That's what we're proclaiming, isn't it, through our affirmations?
Yeah, and that's why we, with the practitioner students, especially in the science of mind, that's why we spend 2 years with them in training, because the reason that it's the whole aspect of spiritual mind treatment can be taught. And I've taught people this in the like in an afternoon. Okay, it's not just the format of the prayer, but again, it's the whole idea of consciousness. So when I get a call from someone who's experiencing illness, as a practitioner,
we know differently.
I can't go there. Again, that's what you're experiencing. So my call is, again, to heal, and I was reading it today in one of my readings, is to heal the idea of separation. That's what causes all illness. Right. So I'm seeing beyond the appearance. I'm seeing they've come to me with a certain thing, and I go ahead and I go, okay. And it's me not only to teach the truth to them, but also to know the truth for them beyond that. Because I think that sometimes, and I've experienced this before, sometimes I need other people or me to go ahead and to do the prayer work.
Absolutely.
Other than me, because sometimes I'm too close to the trees to see the forest. So that's why we have other, again, the relying upon other people to know that for us, to really to agree with us, to go ahead and to be that, I call them spiritual AAA roadside assistants.
Cheerleaders.
Yeah, cheerleader. Well, no, I think that they actually, they actually go ahead and hook the car up and pull me out of the ditch. Because again, I must admit, sometimes there's probably times in my life that I could have called a practitioner and I didn't, and that's okay. But the one thing that I've learned though is that the practitioners and the ministers, especially in New Thought centers, are the most underutilized people there. So know that they expect you to call them. They expect you to come to them and say, okay, this is how I've been. Now, this is a wonderful way of using a practitioner. If you go ahead and you say, okay, I've been praying on a certain subject, okay, and I have a written out prayer, and then to say it to the practitioner and to say, I haven't been getting the result. So again, their guidance and direction. Now, again, Laura, I don't know how, when you're with private clients, I just know with me, there's especially when I'm in a room with a client, there's a third voice in the room. Okay. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's louder than my client or myself. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm doing as a practitioner is I'm also listening. I'm listening to that guidance that's always in and around me, to go ahead and to say the right words, to go ahead and to reveal the perfection that's already there within my client. So yeah, it's really, I think that using that intuitive voice, I think, has been very, very, very helpful, especially with clients, because people say, well, I don't know what I'm going to say the next thing. Well, again, you're listening to yourself and not spirit in that moment. Recognize that the Spirit of God surrounds you and your client. There's only one. So to listen to that guidance and direction, they're there for you to heal also certain areas of your life. If you're getting clients of a certain illness, then again, this is just my opinion, that there's certain things in me that need healed. So, or I wouldn't be attracted.
Well, we're always continually drawing towards us the parts that are ready for us to heal, aren't they? So right. That comes in whether it's clients or whether it's family situations, in our work, with our friendships, with our money, health. It's always an opportunity, isn't it, for us to do that listening and to grow from that experience.
Yeah, I had a miracle happen with my family's very Catholic, Roman Catholic, and that my mom knew of my involvement in the Science Line. She'd been to our church several times. So she wanted me to be involved some way in the funeral. And so she told me that. And so they allowed me to do the graveside prayer, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. So, the thing is, I think that, again, if we are called, all of us, to shine our light, we're called, all of us, to shine our light. And there's been times in my life in which I've been faced with situations, and then I'll say to myself, well, what would I tell a client? What would I tell a member of my center? And I would say that you need to shine your light. Sometimes your light's going to scare the hell out of other people, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to wake up other people sometimes. So to shine your light, if you want to go back to school, go back to school. If you want to learn how to paint, go paint. The whole idea is of all of us shining our light and being who we are in this world. That's why our teaching is so important, because as a collective, what's happening now is we're all here by divine mission this time. Okay. We're here to shine our light and to make God known, not only in our world, but within the individual. So see, that's why New Thought, I believe, is the spirituality of the 21st century. So
and beyond.
Right.
And I'd like to just add in there, I know this is really, hi Wayne, we're stars and we're beautiful. Yes, we all are. You are. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Wayne, from all the way from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Thank you.
Woo. Sometimes it's not easy to know that we have that light, and that's the piece as well, isn't it? If anyone's listening right now and they've lost that awareness of the connection of that light, and if that has happened for me, I know that I just go into a prayer and I visualize a light in my heart, however small it is, even if it's just a tiny flame. And yet I know there's always a light there, and that we can expand upon that. And sometimes if we're hurting, or if we're confused, or if we're in doubt or pain or sorrow or grieving, it's also important to know that even if the light is so small, so tiny, it's always still there. It's always still there. And that light is the light of the divine that's in our hearts, that wants us to know who we are as love. So
and that community, see, that's one of the powerful things about community, is when we do not feel that light within us, that other people are there to say, Laura, you may be feeling this way, but that's not the truth about you. See, and I think that's the power of community, whether it's online or whether it's in person or both. I think that having people around you of like mind, who are on the path like you are, and I forget too. So see, and that's one of the nice things again about community, because people in community will come up and say, you just said something. Are you sure you want that to happen in your life? and
there are reminders.
So I think that again, us together is really, and I know there's a lot of people in the United States and also in the UK who are church wounded. I get that. Church attendance here for the regular churches is down to 30%, but there's a lot of people who are spiritual, but not religious. Welcome to New Thought.
Yeah, welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home. Leaders light the way. Wow, this is an amazing conversation, and we've gone from weddings to to the light in your heart, to all the way around to prayer research, and that I'm really interested in prayer research, and how these studies are being done and showing that prayer really, really, really works, and it works because we know it works.
Yes,
that's the key, isn't it? We know it works. So before we finish on the show right now, would you like to do to share a prayer together and to give that?
Oh, absolutely. So wherever that you're at, again, you think you may have stumbled onto this, but you're here by divine appointment. So let's understand.
Absolutely.
So join, as I say the words, just join your heart and your mind with mine as we know together that there is only one life. That life is all around us, in us, through us, as us. And as a practitioner say, it's omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, omniactive. God is everywhere present, powerful, all-knowing, and active. God is all that there is. And I know that we are one with that one presence and one power. We are the living expressions of God. God being, God acting, God moving. So knowing that now, I just decree and declare and just now know that for the individual who has tuned into this program, we just now decree and declare for them blessing. I know for them right here and right now that they have been blessed by this time, that they've been awakened and renewed by that consciousness that's within them, that their consciousness has been expanded. So knowing that now, I just now claim for them divine health. Divine health flows in and through them now. I now know that divine prosperity is in their lives right here and right now. that they are guided and directed on what to do, when, and how to do it. And my prayer is also for the world today. I just now know for the world, divine life is expressing in and through us. I now decree this thing of COVID-19 or whatever is neither person, place, or thing. So I just go ahead and I just know that that thought is now eliminated within me. And I now know, again, divine life flowing through this planet. And as we allow that shift to happen, that shift of light to happen, I just now know that we are all blessed. We allow ourselves now to experience the God life as us in a grander way. So for that, I just give great thanks as I just say thank you. Thank you, infinite spirit. Thank you. Because I know what's already done. As I release this into the creative law of life, the soil of the universe, which only knows to do one thing, and that is to say yes. And so it is. And so we let it be. Amen.
And so it is. And so it is. Thank you, Michael, for being here, for shining your light and inspiring people to really use these practices for a better life, for a better life experience. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Because we can't always change what it is that we are living in. However, we can change the way that we perceive it. We can change the way that we feel about it. We can change the way that we set our intentions, that we get up every day and we shift into knowing the truth for ourselves. And that's what prayer does. Yes, and that's what prayer does. And that's what gets us through these seeming challenges. It's
a real honor being on your show today. I was, thank you. Thank you so very much.
I love it. I love it. And you're going to come back, aren't you?
Oh, anytime. A couple of reminders. First of all, is that, again, that if you'd like to get a hold of me, it's pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. Yep. Please feel free to, again, I'm available for speaking.
Weddings.
if you are in the Ohio, Pennsylvania, or West Virginia area, those are the three areas I'm certified in, then please give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help. But the other thing too is please join us on Friday evenings for the Fireside Chat. Again, the whole idea is that we can apply our spirituality to what is going on. It doesn't, again, like Dr. Tim said, it doesn't matter what's going on around us. We can always have that peace and that power and that understanding that will not only get us through it, but also have us thrive through it, that we come out of whatever that we are experiencing in a much grander way than we went in. So, and that's what I claim for each and every person, especially with the world situation and everything that we're in, that we're coming out of this. We're coming out of this better. We're coming out of this purified. We're coming out of this blessed. We're coming out of this not burned, but we're coming out of this purified like gold. So I again, that's what I claim for everybody. So.
Oh, wow, Michael. And the as you're saying all of this, and I'm realizing, that this spiritual journey that we're all on and that we're saying yes to, and for the listeners that are here and saying yes to it for their own lives, this isn't just a 1 hour a week experience. And that's why New Thought Media is here, New Thought Media Network, because it's a constant reminder from shows like this and Pastor Michael coming on a Friday evening, and the meditations that happen every day, and the visioning and the visualization, and the writers hangout, and the conversations, and the ministers getting together and talking, and people coming on. This is a 24/7, well, maybe not 24/7, but it's a many hours a day of all of this beautiful experiential content coming out of New Thought Media Network for you as a listener to really embrace in your heart and tap into. At any moment, you might be feeling that you can't find that light within you. Come here. Come to Michael's show. Come to Cosmic Prayer. Come to any of the broadcasts that are happening on New Thought Media Network, and you will be reminded of the truth of who you are.
Yes.
And that's why we're here doing this. So if this has touched your heart in any way, then there we go. The shift has hit the fan. I love that. This is my new, I'm going to steal that from you. If this has resonated with your heart or with your mind, and you feel that you would like to give in gratitude to New Thought Media Network, then there is a donation love offering link here in the chat of the Facebook or YouTube post. You can donate to this ministry, and Reverend Robert Brzezinski is doing this incredible work with this beautiful vision, and all of your funds will go straight into expanding that vision and allowing it to be set free. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, support the talent. There we go. Thank you, Wayne, for being here and being present. And Michael, thank you for being such a beautiful guest. And you'll come back, I know, with more.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for being the bright light that you are. And again, thank you for having me on your show today. Really appreciate it.
It's been great. Thank you, Michael. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Cosmic Prayer, your weekly shift with Laura Topper on the New Thought Media Network. If you've enjoyed this programming, please tell a friend and join us again next week for Cosmic Prayer, your weekly shift with Laura Topper.
Wanna play? Come to our yard. New Thought Media Network spotlights you. Saturdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Spirit Says Sing. Our stage is open for musicians, singers and speakers, visual artists. Shine with us live. It's easy. Just click the link in the comments and be ready to soar. Spirit Says Sing. Saturdays at 6, right here on New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.